One of the last villains I'd want to be trapped in a cabin with. I'm talking if it's either Doomsday, one of those jerk trains from Thomas the Tank, or Annie Wilkes. Give me the train, dude, 10 days a week. What happens when both your legs are broken and you're trapped with a crazy fangirl with a worse temper than my mom without her Diet Coke? Misery happens, a whole lot of misery. Misery everywhere. Welcome back to Villain Review. Today I'm going to tell you everything I like and don't like about Annie Wilkes. And of course give her a score 1 out of 10. Let's do it.
Hi.
A man chooses.
My victim. Okay. It's stuck.
As soon as the road's open, I'll take you to a hospital. In the meantime, you've got a lot of recovering to do.
Paul Sheldon is a very successful author in the world of misery, most famous for his series of books following the same lead character, Misery Chastain. The books are beloved, but Paul says, I'm tired of romance novels. I want to try something new, something serious. I want something I can win some awards for. Traveling home from Colorado, Paul gets in a car accident really bad. His whole car destroyed, buried in the snow, but unluckily for him, he's saved by a nearby homeowner, Annie Wilkes, who takes him into her home and begins nursing him back to health. Did I mention both his legs broken? Cause they are. Annie is super sweet, a delightful lady, first of all, and the two fall in love and live happily ever after. Wow, what a great video and villain. I'm gonna give her 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Plot twist here in the video, not true at all. She actually sucks. Annie seems to be nice, but after she reveals she's actually Paul's biggest fan, it starts to get pretty bad. Madam Web bad, some might say. Madam Web meets Chauncey the Bear bad. Soon enough, we start to see her dark side. She loses her temper, makes some really sus comments, but then the final nail in the coffin, get this, she reads some of this new book Paul's writing, the final misery book to rule them all, and Paul kills Misery, just part of the book, not the pig, the character. She has a pet pig named Misery, forgot to mention that. Annie loses her mind like the Pixies and demands Paul rewrite the entire book, bringing her back to life. Here's the thing about women. Okay. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. But really, though, here's the thing about all women. They're all insane. Am I right, boys? Okay, yeah, no, sorry. I'm joking. It's a joke. Paul realizes he doesn't really have a choice in this situation. Annie destroys the only copy of his new book, and really all her behavior dictates if he doesn't do what she wants, he's gonna get a fast track to being dead. Genie Plus style. Some time passes and she spirals even more, eventually being like, hey, I think I love you, but also like I kind of want to commit double suicide with you. That's romantic, right? Here's the thing about women. They're all insane. Obviously, Annie is not well in her mind. Her main motivation seeming to be fulfilling this twisted fantasy in her head about Paul being in love with her and her favorite character being brought back to life. The thing I like about it is it's just real enough to be scary. You know, because there are some crazy fans out there. We all know what fandoms I'm talking about. So it's not far-fetched really at all to imagine a world where someone with some problems in their head meets crazy fandom and a pig.
She can't be dead. Misery Chastain cannot be dead.
1 minute, Annie seems to be the most loving, the most sweet, the most caring person that's ever graced the earth. And the next minute, she's a freaking psycho. Like those people that put apple juice in their cereal. I've like, true story, I know someone like that. One of my relatives. If you're like me, you know Kathy Bates from a few different movies here and there. Probably Waterboy, if you're at all like me. Titanic, which if you think about it, could also be called Waterboy. But sometimes actors are just that good and we don't know it because they're not allowed to cook. Chef Ramsay, he took their coat. He said, give me that shite. This movie though, she's like Ratatouille, cooks so hard, it'll make you remember your childhood. Unless you had a rough childhood, in which case, well, I guess I would still remind you of your childhood. Whenever an actor is asked to play a character with two strong, distinct halves, it's very important they play both well. You can't be too excited to play the evil side or the good side. It's like rushing to take a girl to your bedroom to watch Bionicle 3 Web of Shadows when she hasn't even seen Mask of Light yet. Surprise, surprise, she pulls it off perfectly. She's so warm and loving and sweet when everything's going her way. But when it's not, she plays that psychotic villain equally as well. What I like about how she plays it too, how it's written, it's not either one or the other. There are moments she starts off sweet and then slowly starts creeping towards that line of anger and cuckoo-ness. The main example here being when Paul asks her to get different paper from the store. You can see her trying to hold it together. One of the best bits of acting in the entire film. Now, a huge thing on this channel, right, is villain screen movie presence. When the villain's not on screen, do they still feel like a threat? Do we still think about them? Marvel, for example, not great at doing that most of the time. Misery, though, you bet your ass. The whole premise of the tension in this movie is this guy can't get out of bed, but he's going to try, and if he's caught, he's screwed. So whenever Paul's doing anything in the movie when Annie's not there, holy crap, dude, every second we're just like, please don't walk in, please don't walk in, please, please, please don't come in. When you're fighting Ghostface or another villain like that, you're gonna be saying, well, if that was me, I would have sauced them up. Oh, I'm way faster than Drew Barrymore. He'd never catch me. If you're in Paul's shoes, though, you ain't got many options. This is not a hometown buffet, despite what you might think.
Oh, Misery's alive! Misery's alive! Oh, it's so romantic!
The movie also feels like a play, which is what they eventually ended up doing, actually. A play where the villain is probably the most important character. She holds all the cards. Everything that happens in this movie is ultimately because of her. The movie eases you into her insanity by hiding the fact she's a monster. The same thing your favorite YouTuber probably also does. It's funny because Paul is kind of like the straight man in this movie, but the horror version of straight man. So the opposite. What's the opposite of straight man? Gay man? Paul is the audience's entry point, gay man if you will, to Annie Wilkes. The vessel to convey what everyone is thinking, the horror, the shock, and everything else that's felt towards Annie. But also W. Paul, because here's the thing, as the movie goes on and he realizes he might be getting killed, he gets a lot braver in his efforts to escape. Underrated part of this movie, I think Paul's a pretty cool protagonist. But let's talk about some best scenes, shall we? I know why you're here. Obviously, the first time she's revealed to be kind of a freak, we get this low-angle textbook horror shot that frames her in a light that just screams villain. It's such a good contrast to a lot of her other scenes, which are lit very beautifully, very reminiscent of older sitcoms and things like that. I don't know, it's just pleasant. As she finds out her favorite character is dead, she demands Paul brings her back. Something I really like here is how they don't downplay or have her backtrack this insanity. She stands on business. Even when she's back to being sweet, she doesn't apologize or take back what she says. She stands by it and just says it in a friendlier tone. Would have made it a lot harder, in my opinion, to progress this character if she moved like Willy Wonka, you know, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. 3 quick scenes I want to highlight. Scene number 1. Once Paul starts to heal up, Annie gets worried he's going to leave her. So what does she do? Try breaking his ankles with a sledgehammer so he can't escape? Here's the thing, women are crazy, once again. Not only is this scene incredibly memorable for how shocking it is, but also it shows Annie's not just crazy, she's dangerous. She really believes this is what's for the best too. She really thinks she's helping. Like when Out of Touch celebrities sing Imagine. There are a ton of great scenes throughout the movie. Like I mentioned, wrong paper scene, fire, but let's talk about when the detective pulls up to her house. Insane tension. We all know Annie is a freak, and we've been waiting the whole entire movie for someone to actually confront her. And here's the thing, I think the detective knows she's a freak too. It's almost like this Western standoff between Annie, the detective, and us, the audience. She eventually kills him and tells Paul he's next. But Paul still manages to convince her to let him finish this new version of the story where book character Misery lives. From there, I love the whole entire finale of this film, the two going back and forth at it. We see how physical Annie can get and really the truest extent of how dangerous she is. Really adds a lot of context to the serial killer, us seeing her at her most, I don't want to say highest potential, but you know, highest, capacity for killing. Great finale, absolutely love it. A lot of people say this film kind of invented the villain dies, but then she comes back. Maybe, not sure if that's true, but it's still cool.
Now don't be afraid. I love you.
Annie Wilkes is a pretty great villain. She feels pretty real in the sense of insanity meets insanity fandom. Kathy Bates is great, the character so scary. She goes back and forth in a way that is seamless It's just perfect. Everything's just, it's amazing. A lot of great scenes. Love when you see a movie where the villain is the most important character. Absolutely love it. I'm gonna give Annie Wilkes a 9.
Almost done.
Thanks so much for watching. You gotta let me know though. Alright, this is a group effort. What villain should I review next? I really gotta know. Hit subscribe. I'll talk to you later. I'm trying to hit 100,000 subscribers and I'm really far away. I'd appreciate it. Thank you.